It's been a minute, but I think Purrely is meta again. Hey guys, Otaka here, back with another Genesys video, and today we're going to be talking about my favorite deck of all time, Purrely. Now, before my Chimera community goes, oh, you said that Chimera is your favorite deck of all time. You're right, I have said that. However, recently I did some, deep thinking about what actually is my favorite deck because someone did ask me the question, and most of my success and just the most fun I've had in Yu-Gi-Oh! Is playing Purrely, second being Malice, and third being Yummy, all of which are really close together, might I add. But Purrely had the most success in the earlier days of my Yu-Gi-Oh! Career, whereas, obviously Yummy has the highest accolade right now, being my invite. But again, Purrely is probably my all-time favorite deck. Which is great, because thanks to Genesys format, Purrely is good again. So for a minute there, Purrely was the best deck of the format. It was a little difficult to say what the best deck was, because when Purrely was in its prime, we also had Unchained and Rescue Ace creeping around that were also really good in that format. But Purrely was definitely one of the top cats. But then, unfortunately, they hit Sleepy Memory to 1, they hit Delicious Memory to 1, and I believe they're both at 3 now in the TCG. I could be wrong about that, but the TCG has evolved to a state where Purrely will have a hard time actually doing things because they got to keep guys on board, and that's just really difficult to do. But thanks to the fact that nothing is banned or limited or semi-limited in Genesys format, Purrely can run at almost full power. So today we're going to be taking a look at my Purrely deck list. We're not going to go over combos because Purrely combos have by no means changed just because the deck list has changed. Purrely is still very much Purrely, but we will be talking about tech choices and just cards that overall help the deck run, given the fact that due to some of the cards having points, we can't run everything at 3. However, before we do jump on into the deck list, I have noticed that a great deal of you that are watching this video right now are not subscribed to the channel. So if you like competitive-based content, whether it be advanced format or Genesys, then make sure you leave a like on this video, subscribe to the channel, but also comment down below your thoughts on this deck list, but also Purrely as a whole in the Genesys format. But hey, why stop there? If you would like to further support the channel, then consider joining my community Discord, following me over at Twitch, and using my TCG affiliate link. But if you would like to save 15% off while upgrading your deck box, your playmat, or even your card sleeves, then consider using my Dueling Guard affiliate link. All links be in the description down below. Alright, so here's my Purrely deck list, and things look a little wonky. Purrely as a deck, actually, funny enough, does have points. You wouldn't think that it would be that powerful, but it can be a problem in a format like Genesys. So Purrely has 15 points, Sleepy Memory has 15 points, Purrely has 10, and the Field Spell has 5. Furthermore, though, in a Xyz-focused deck like Purrely, they are actually able to play Zeus with Downer Magician. Unfortunately, Zeus is 20 points. So if you would like to play Zeus, that's another 20 points, which means because of Zeus, I actually cannot fit another Sleepy Memory in this deck. Now, I could fit a Sleepy Memory if I cut the 2 Chalice and the Field Spell, but the Field Spell is really important, and I threw the Chalices in here because I had 10 remaining points, and I didn't really want to use Typhon. But let's go ahead and actually deep dive into it. So we are running a discard engine, is the best way to word it. Purrely obviously has cards. If you want to summon a Purrely from the deck off of any of the quick play spells, then you have to discard a card. And it makes it so then hand resources do become thin very quickly. So a good way to remedy this is to have discard engines. We are playing Shaddoll Hedgehog, Squamata, and Beast, because if we open Squamata, then we can dump the Hedgehog, Hedgehog add the Beast, and then Beast will draw a card when we discard him. If we open Hedgehog, then we just add the Beast, discard the Beast. We also then are playing 2 Brow Huntsman in the Dark World. He is a mandatory effect, so he will always be chain 1 to draw a card, which typically is fine. But just again, another card that will replace itself, so we're not running low on hand resources. And then we are playing 1 Metal Foes Fusion. Metal Foes Fusion, I just had room for 1 more card. I didn't want to play the 3rd Brow. So Metal Foes Fusion doesn't do anything other than when it's in the graveyard, you can shuffle it back into the deck and draw 1 card. So again, another card we can discard to further replace itself. I am then playing 2 Dawn Angel Camby. For those who don't know what this card does, if you control no monsters or you control only fairy monsters, which is predominantly the Purrely deck, then you can special summon this card from the hand. Then you contribute any number of fairy monsters, including this card, special summon 1 fairy from your deck whose level is equal to the total levels of those monsters had on the field. So Camby can just tribute herself and summon a Purrely. It's just another version of the Purrely spells without the discard. The only downside here is Camby does lock you into fairies when you use that second effect, but most of the Purrely cards that you play in the extra deck are fairies. The only cards in the extra deck that are not fairies is Downer Magician, the 2 Lyrilusks, and Zeus. Then we're only playing 2 of the White Cat because it's 15 points. We're already using 30 points alone on the White Cat, but even like in advanced format, Purrely was starting to cut down on the cats themselves because the strategy was to pretty much just get to the cat and then hopefully it sticks to the board. So it wasn't like super important, but also the trap can recycle them, so you don't need 3 of each. We're playing 2 of the Black Cat because the Black Cat, in my opinion, is the better one, but also 10 points. We're playing Singularity Fiend, so there's not a lot of free hand traps in Genesys format. There's not. There's DD Crow, there's Skullmeister, and I'm probably missing a few others. But if you are playing a spell-focused deck like Purrely, Singularity Fiend is also a really good hand trap that costs no points. When your opponent special summons a monster, except during the damage step, you can discard this card and 1 spell, destroy that monster. And you can only use this effect, Singularity Fiend, once per turn. So this card is pretty much good going first or second. The ideal scenario, obviously, is you open this card plus Metal Foe Fusion, because then you can draw a card afterwards and replace it. But the Singularity Fiend is also just a live card to draw off like the Noir when you draw cards in your opponent's standby phase off Sleepy Memory. But overall, just a very powerful card. We are, like I said, playing the Metal Foe Fusion. We are playing 3 Cosmic Cyclone. Cards like Heavy Storm and Feather Duster cost points, and so we kind of have to find some alternate ways to remove back row. Now, I've only played maybe like 100 to 200 games of Genesys at this point, and back row isn't like the most prevalent, minus like the random Fire King deck, because Fire King is also good in that format, and you want to be playing Cosmic Cyclone for like Fire King, because you want to banish the Fire King Island to then nuke their board, because it is a mandatory nuke. But on top of that, it makes it so the Sanctuary can't protect it, because a card like Mystical Space Typhoon, which we are also playing, and I'll explain in a moment, then makes it so the Sanctuary can protect the FKI and just further get them combo. So Cosmic Cyclone, being able to like banish resources just seems better. You could play Twin Twister instead, because it also has a discard, which we play cards that don't mind being discarded, but overall, I think Cosmic's just a better card. I am playing 2 Forbidden Chalice. Like I said, I had 10 extra points left, and I didn't really want to play Typhon, so I decided to throw 2 Forbidden Chalice in here, almost as like pseudo imperms or like droplets, because droplet costs a lot more points, imperm costs a lot more points. But a big thing running around in Genesys format is Flying Sea. Flying Sea is a very strong card that when your opponent's normal or special summons a monster, you can activate the card in hand, special summon Flying Sea to your opponent's board, and as long as it's face up on your opponent's field, your opponent cannot Xyz summon. And because, you know, links and pendulums don't exist in the game, then it's really hard to get it off your board. Like, if you put it face down with like a Book of Moon, something that's not being played in the format, then that's fine. But again, you have to be playing a card that no one's really playing. So Flying Sea is just really good. Forbidden Chalice can negate its effects, so it's not a problem. The only issue is that you would have to make Noir on your turn, because if you don't, then you can't use the Purrely Leap to make the Noir on your opponent's turn, because the Flying Sea will be active again. Chalice will no longer be negating it. Next, we have 1 Mystical Space Typhoon, just more back row hate, but we are playing Radiant Typhoon Vision. Radiant Typhoon Vision, I think, is really good. I've been seeing some people talk about not running it in the Purrely deck for Genesys format. I think this is just a free, like, Allure of Darkness for Purrely, because we are playing more than just the Purrely quick play spells. I am playing 1 MST, I'm playing Cosmic Cyclone, Chalice, so I have other targets to discard. I don't have to discard a Purrely memory card. But for those who don't know what this card does, it is once per turn for each effect, but it is not once per turn as a card as a whole. But it does have 2 effects. The first effect is draw 2 cards, then if you have a Radiant Typhoon card or a quick play spell in your hand, discard 1 of them, or your entire hand if you don't. So like I said, it's like Allure of Darkness, but instead of discarding or banishing a dark monster, you are discarding a Radiant Typhoon card or a quick play spell from your hand. And we have a bunch of quick play spells, so this is not a big problem. You could also just open or like draw another Radiant Typhoon Vision and discard that. So we have plenty of options to not have to discard a memory card. The second effect is add 1 MST from deck or graveyard to your hand. So that is the main reason we are playing MST, because it's searchable. We can use this to search MST if we want to pop a card on our opponent's back row, but we can also recycle it from the graveyard. So that's why we are running 3 of Vision, because if we use MST and then like we top deck Vision for a turn, then we can just add the MST back to our hand and pop another back row. We are then playing 3 of Delicious, 3 of Happy, 3 of Pretty. Delicious being at 3 is a fucking war crime, might I add. The noirs that I make with like almost 9k attack is astronomically insane. But then also on top of that, because this is at 3, it also makes it so the OTK strategy is really possible in this deck, because we have the ability to guarantee seeing this off of my friend Purrely. The only unfortunate part here is we are playing Sleepy Memory at 1 because it is 15 points, and we just don't have the room unless we cut Zeus. So Sleepy Memory at 1 is, I mean, fine, just means we can't guarantee it, but we also have 1,000 ways to draw into it via the Brow, the Beast. We have deck thinning strategies. We also have the Vision. We have ways to find this card. And then I'm playing 3 My Friend Purrely because we need to find cards pretty efficiently. We are playing only 1 Street because, again, I was running out of points. I could have put like 1 more in instead of like 2 Chalice and then try to find 5 points elsewhere, but Street just doesn't feel mandatory to run more than 1 copy, because you can just make it so it's hard for them to out it. But Street is just good because they can't target your Purrelys when they are special summons. And then we are playing 2 of Yeep because we need to be able to recycle resources. If Purrely gets caught in a grind game, then we need to have more than 1 ways to recycle resources, but we are also only playing 1 Sleepy Memory, so sometimes we don't get to the E Purrely Noir to guarantee the set of Yeep off of its attach effect. So we need to be able to increase our odds of seeing this card without increasing our odds to definitely see this card in an opening hand that makes it unplayable. As for the extra deck, I am playing Garua and Meilong simply because I am playing Ultimate Slayer in the side deck. But Meilong's really good because you send it, and then obviously off of Ultimate Slayer, you're bouncing a Synchro back to the extra deck, but then Meilong could bounce another card to the hand. Garua is just another draw if you're running against fusion decks. I'm not playing Aggregator or Valen because we already have a bunch of Xyz that we can send to the grave. Like, yes, we're not getting any bonus effects off of that, but honestly, I don't know a whole lot of decks that it would be super imperative to get that off of, because, like, yeah, Valen could pop a back row, Aggregator can, like, negate a card, but overall, I think if I'm using Ultimate Slayer, I'm getting value that I need off of it for the Xyz decks. Playing the 1 Zeus, and because we are playing Zeus, we are playing a Downard Magician, 2 of the X Purrely Noir, 2 of the Happiness, 2 of the Beauty, 1 of E Purrely Noir, because again, we can't guarantee seeing the Sleepy, but E Purrely Noir doesn't have a whole lot of application outside of its set effect. I mean, it has a pretty good first effect, but it rarely comes up. And then we have 2 Plump, and then I'm playing 2 Lyralux. I'm playing Assembled Nightingale because this is the Zeus Turbo, and then I am playing the Recital Starling because a really good hand trap that is also 0 points in Genesys format is DD Crow, and sure enough, Recital Starling can search DD Crow. I think some other honorable mention extra deck cards would be cards like Princess Sprite, because you do get to a situation where you have a bunch of level 1s on the board between like Camby and the Purrelys, because with all the drawing effects, you do get the ability to like really not run out of resources a whole lot. So you get a bunch of bodies on board and you don't really have much to do with them. So they just sit there because you don't have link monsters. So the Princess Sprite can just make an 1800 guy and then hopefully draw you another spell card. And then, like I said, another honorable mention would be Typhon. If you want to run Typhon and cut the 2 chalices and then like find something else to fill those 2 chalice spots with, go for it. I just don't personally like Typhon and Purrely. I don't really like Typhon in general in Genesys format. There's not a whole lot of boss monsters that it comes up against. If you're summoning Typhon, I think in Genesys format, you pretty much are just admitting defeat at that point. As for the side deck, again, this heavily depends on what event you're going to, whether it's like a regional side event or your locals, but Fabled Cat Sith is a interesting card. It's when this card is discarded to the graveyard, you can target 1 face-up card on the field and destroy that target. It is mandatory, so if you are going first and you discard this card, which I don't know, I would never side this card going first personally, but if you discard this card and you summon a Purrely, and Purrely's the only card on the board, then Cat Sith Chain 1 is going to pop that Purrely, but there's ways around that. But overall, it's a pretty good card. It just helps break boards. Then I am playing the DD Crow. I'm playing it in the side because it doesn't come up in every matchup. There's a lot of decks that this doesn't really come up in. The overarching archetypes in the format are like Fire King, Radiant Typhoon, Odeon, Exo Sisters is pretty good. And there's just like, there are a lot of decks in this format where DD Crow doesn't come up against. So because of that, I do throw it in the side deck. But another reason why I'm playing Rossetto Starling is to just be able to search it. Then we are playing Dark Ruler. One thing Purrely doesn't like doing is playing second. Hates playing second. So we need to have options for it. So Dark Ruler and Ultimate Slayer are just those options. Ultimate Slayer can just help crack the board. Dark Ruler can help us establish a board, so that way we can kind of just out all of their resources. Dark Ruler is really good against Generator, exactly, because Har is really fucking annoying to deal with in a deck like this specifically, because we do a lot of adding and we don't want him hand ripping us. We don't want his Omni Negate to have to come up. Just overall, Dark Ruler is really good. Also, Dark Ruler's phenomenal against like the Leviathan. And then I am playing 3-Dimensional Fissure. However, I am going to be cutting this because I do actually want to be playing Flying Sea. There's just a lot of decks I think Flying Sea is really good against in this format. So because of that, I probably will be cutting Dimension Fissure because it's not really performing how I would like it to. But yeah, that's really it for my Purrely deck list for Genesys format. Like I said, we're not going to be showing off any combos because the Purrely combos don't change. Purrely's combo is still very much the same. But I am curious to hear what you all think down in the comment section below. And also, again, don't forget to leave a like on this video and subscribe to the channel if you're not already. But with that, I'll see you all in the next one. See ya.